The way to think of this is, how do we try and bring our children up? We try and bring them up to be better than we were, to not make the mistakes that we made, so that they are given the right tools to lead a healthy life. And sometimes that means making them eat their vegetables, and sometimes that means making them do their homework. With eyes, part of the good homework and the good behaviour with eyes is prevention of harm. And we know that reducing long-term risk is helpful, and it's beneficial for the parent, because you don't have to spend as much money on glasses and thicker lenses and things like that for your children while they're in your care. But it's also for that child for the rest of their life. If they develop severe myopia, like I've worn glasses since I was 8. I'm in my 50s, so I've worn them for over 40 years, all day, every day, or I've worn contact lenses. And that's a lifetime expense. And it's better for me because I'm in the industry, so I don't pay for my glasses. It's what comes as part of the perk. But if you're a person that has to pay for it, it's a big factor. So that's the first thing. The second thing is, if we get a higher prescription, if we develop myopia unchecked and it gets worse and worse over time, which is what it tends to do, that's what myopic progression is all about, then the risks of all these complications come to light. And you don't have to be very myopic for these risks to occur. And that can be things along the lines of retinal detachment. I was chatting to Jin, my new optometrist, just the other day, and we were saying, look, and I told her about a mutual patient, and we were chatting about that patient and said, look, that lady's husband had a retinal detachment after a fairly bouncy ride in India, and he developed tears in the retina, and that was no symptoms before the tuk-tuk ride, and it was like a tour around Delhi, so it was just rough roads. And he was quite a tall chap, and he kept bouncing his head on the top bars of the auto rickshaw sort of thing. And we had a chat about what was the risk. Was he really myopic? And the answer is no. He was only moderately myopic, and yet he had this significant detachment problem where there were lots of little tears appeared in the eye from just a holiday, and he got that fixed not in India, though he did a look at it there. He didn't get it fixed in Hong Kong, but he looked at it there. He got it fixed getting back to Australia. So it goes to show that even someone with my moderate prescription, I've got a risk of retinal detachment, and that's just one of the complications. The other complications are macular swelling and macular disease. We can get macular splitting. We can get macular edema, which is the macular swelling, as I said. All of those things are sight destroying or risk of a permanent vision loss. And even if you recover from them or you get surgery to fix them, your eyes are never the same as they were before the incident. And as such, then you've got to live with a compromised or a changed visual system for the rest of your life. And if that happens when you're 50, then you've got another 40 or 50 years to deal with something that's not quite right. Sometimes it happens when someone's 70 and you might say, oh, they're old. But if it happens when you're older and it goes wrong, then your quality of aged care life is really impaired, and your stability on your feet is impaired already because you're getting a bit older, and then you can't see properly out of one eye because you had a myopic event that lost vision or lost quality of vision, and your trip risk increases and your fall risk increases. So this is lifelong problems we're dealing with. So why wouldn't we want to try and protect our children from a lifelong pathway of impairment, for want of a better term?
And glaucoma is another thing, isn't it?
Yeah,
That
it
like
is.
myopia increases the risk profile for people who have glaucoma, and glaucoma is another eye disease that has some sort of genetic risk factors associated with it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm a high risk glaucoma patient myself.
Mm.
Okay, so I've got a lot of markers that are risk factors for glaucoma. Myopia is one of them. I've also got Raynaud's syndrome, which is a blood vessel disorder with my fingers, and I've got some family history, and I've got some interesting eyes and interesting pressures, and I'm a steroid responder. So there's lots of factors, but myopia is another one of those factors. So yes, absolutely. Glaucoma is an insidious disease because you don't even know you've got it.
Yeah.
That's why you've got to go and have regular checkups. It's one of the silent diseases. How could you have a disease and not know you've got it? That's the definition of glaucoma, because you're not aware of it, because it happens so slowly and so benignly that you don't realise until you've lost most of your sight.
As humans, unfortunately, we're not good at making, or not good at short-term discipline for long-term benefits, whether that's exercise or diet, and I guess screen time and monitoring, myopia progression, that's another one that falls into that category. But definitely, I
Yeah.
think there are long-term implications we need to be aware of.
And it has to be met with some level of reality with the parents, because not every parent's got a lot of money, and some of these myopia fixing things are on the expensive end of the
Mhm.
spectrum. But that's why we've got a spectrum of products available,
Mm.
and we've got things that are entry point and cheaper and
Mm.
affordable, and maybe not quite the evidence behind them, but they're copying the technology of the good stuff, so that we've got things that at least give us an affordable option for patients that have got limited finances or under stress.